Well, following late disappointment in the last episode, our Champions League troubles have continued, and that perhaps puts a bit more pressure on the squad for this week and my decision making across two big competitions. We're also slipping away from the perfect Liverpool record at the top of the Premier League table. This is turning into a difficult start, and this week against Newcastle and City, we need things to go right pretty quickly. Yes, hello, and welcome along to part 136 of Saving Southend with me, Daniel. The 16th season has started, I would say, relatively solidly, but with injuries on the board, with a 6 point deficit to Liverpool, who have started brilliantly, and with trouble in the Champions League, there are definitely areas for concern, and there are definitely areas where we've got some catching up to do. Today, we continue what is a pretty treacherous run of fixtures following the international break. We make it 3 games in a week after a big win at Sheffield United, with Newcastle in the Champions League and Manchester City in the Premier League. Already our third encounter with Newcastle this year, before we play another 3 games in the space of a week straight after. So this is more a test of the squad's depth and the squad's quality. Today it says there's 3 injured, but there's actually more than that out. So if you're looking forward to seeing if we can compete and put right what happened against Newcastle in the last episode in the Premier League, and please do put a thumbs up on the video. But now, though, we're going to go over and have a look at the schedule, because when I say Champions League trouble, I mean trouble in Italy, because you were with me as we let in that late goal against Inter Milan to make it a 3-all draw rather than a big victory. You then saw us get pretty much played off the park by Newcastle, looking fatigued at the weekend. And it then cost us on the Tuesday as well, because against Juventus, we lost by 2 goals to 1. And I was furious with Ryan Adamson, who got himself sent off after we went 1-0 up with a brilliant start. Bettini in goal had his first magnificent game for us, and Adamson still somehow got a 7.8 just for getting the assist, which really annoyed me. We managed to cling on for a point until the 89th minute, at which point Juve turned it around. We did bounce back with 2 big league wins, a 4-1 victory against Hull thanks to a Nana fair brace and one from Joe Wills. Adamson played that game and got injured. And then against Sheffield United, after the weird 4-week break, it was Peter Bernberg who picked up a knock, as Lewis Herbert followed an own goal to get us a fairly comfortable win. So it leaves us in decent position in the Premier League. 2 big away defeats against Newcastle and Everton, but let's be fair, they're games that you could lose any season. We need Liverpool to slip up, and if they don't, we're just going to have to accept being second best. But we've had a good run at the top. This season, maybe we take advantage of the fact that we've got friendly Carabao Cup draws so far. We've had Bristol City at home. We've now got Hull at home. Could this be the year we finally win that trophy for the first time? And could we have a go in the Champions League? Because if we win today, and then if we can win against Basel and PSV, albeit not convincingly, we will be pretty much through. So let's go and get into the first of today's doubleheader. We are without a few players, as you saw. We're a little short up front. We're a little short in centre midfield. And we're coming up against one of our former players in João Gomez, the starting right back. Aaron Moore, Hoy and Hull, I don't need to introduce them again. We've been playing them every episode the way this season's worked out. So let's see what 11 I can put out today, because this is the first choice team that played at the weekend, bar Bernberg and Fair, both of whom are struggling physically, but I don't have any other subs. So ideally, Fair will be a late substitute or nothing. Bernberg and Jimenez will be unused, and then Cart and Wills will start up front instead. We have got Teddy Ivanov there. In midfield, it's just a returning Marciano, Kivrakidis and Ivo Torres. The rest are out. With Adamson suspended on top of all of that, I think you call this a little bit of a patched together squad. The bench is not the strongest. There's probably 5 or 6 I would be happy to use out of the 12. But this is the 11 that we're going for today that will hopefully be able to deliver a big Champions League win at home. It is Bettini between the sticks with Memic and Carlos the fullbacks, Herbert and Rakowski the 2 centre-halves, Robertson and Vasquez the wingers, Kivrakidis and Torres in the middle, and then Wills and Card the 2 up front. Interesting to note that Kivrakidis did finally end his unhappiness about being played out of position after about a year. Then within a day, became unhappy about his contract again and wanted 300 grand a week instead of the 150 he's on. So didn't really have any point in ending that. But it does mean if we can offer him a new deal later down the line, that unhappiness should drift away. For now, it is all about trying to get a result. We've got 4 defensive subs if we need them. Could we use Andre as a superstar sub going forward again? Might be the only option we have. Let's go and get into it. We've lost to Newcastle in the league. We pipped them in a Community Shield. What will happen the third time we face them? Let's go and find out at Steve Tilson Park. Well, 3 changes for Newcastle today as Arne Slot continues his big rebuild of the club. They're doing very well. A few big names dropped out today, but they've got real quality in the squad. They're bringing in Aaron Moore, who's a world-class centre-half. John's caused trouble before, but so have 2 or 3 of the players dropping out. So let's go and get through to this one. Say, stick to the plan and be patient. Just want to take the pressure off, because this is a night where with 1 point out of 6, you can start to feel like you've got to win and you've got to force the issue. We've had a lot of thrillers against Newcastle where we've let things slip. I want to be quite careful on that front. 10 minutes gone, it's been quiet so far. Let's wait for a chance and hope it goes in our favour. Well, if you haven't seen the news already, next season we'll be listening to a less atmospheric version of that Champions League theme tune apparently, as Joe Wills gets in and heads over the bar. 35 minutes gone, and prior to that, all we'd really seen tonight is that Arsenal are struggling at home to Juve, and that we've picked up a knock to Armin Memic. He's only a bruise though, shouldn't get worse. We'll get him through to the break at least. But it has been a positive start in terms of defensively, where we've been weak at times. It's just whether we can turn that into goals and attacks. Not with Wills giving it away there. Well won by Torres. It's out to Vasquez, who's a little deep at the minute. Just not got real options in those midfield and attacking areas, and players know they can get away with it. Don't know what's happened to Joe Wills' first touch. We noticed this in the last episode, didn't we? Heavy touches giving the ball away, but Herbert wins it back. Ball for Ashley Carr's not great. He's been forced wide. And he goes back to Memic, who can now storm down the right. Has support. He's got 4 in the middle as well. Cuts back to Torres. Good early cross. Joe Wills up and heads just wide. Glances it past the far post. That was an opportunity and a half. He's got a good first touch, but not showing it today. If he could have scored with his head, all would have been forgiven. Half time, no shot on target yet for Southend. But 0-0, and could be a crucial clean sheet so far. Let's say we've got to be better in front of goal. Ashley Carr is now nervous. I mean, he's a complete bag of uncertainty, isn't he? That's the best way I can sum him up. Let's go into the second half. Ashley Carr, how much have you got in the lockup? Will Nana Fair be needed? Vasquez with a corner kick on the left to the back post. Can Herbert be the hero again? Loses the header. It's away as far as Jorg Robertson, who's also been quiet today. He gets to the byline, gets a second bite of the cherry at the cross. Instead cuts it back, and we're fortunate to keep possession. Giancarlos, though, left-footed. Good turn. Shot's not quite so good, though. Well over the bar. High, wide and ugly. And 0-0 with 5 gone in the second half. And still no shot on the Newcastle United target. Well, 65 gone. I don't think I can wait any longer. We've got poor performers. We've got tired legs. I'm going to go for Fair and Ivanov as the straight swaps up front. I've got Ivo Torres struggling, so I'm going to go for Marciano. On the right of midfield, Jorg Robertson will switch with Yocolano, who has been a super sub before. And then we've got Memic, injured but wants to play on. No point of risking it now. Edward Aguiman will be on at right back. No return for Andre off the bench today. But can we defend this Newcastle free kick? It's headed away once and twice, but still with Gomez, our former man, in the final third. Big ball over to Davi. Was he onside? Didn't look it, but nothing given. And it's away again as it's flashed across the box. We're coming under a bit of pressure here. Giancarlo surging into midfield. Can we at least have a shot on goal? Fair gets it wide to Yocolano. Did he break the offside trap? Julian Yocolano. Oh, how have you put that over? Got to hit the target there. You can see from the stats, we've actually got an expected goal from our 9 shots, but we have not hit the target once. That shows you that we're missing some pretty decent chances here. And we tend to go, is it going to cost us? Because the Newcastle corner comes in. And again, we're not heading it away convincingly. Simpson 30 yards out to Gerardo. Can we nick it and break? No. Balls for them again from the Rakowski tackle. And Esnaula will start on halfway to Zanelli. Chips over. Aguiman deals with it. Back to Bettini as we look to work forward. Here is Aguiman coming out from right back to Marciano. Wide to Yocolano. Run goes from Nana Fair, but he's not found. It's a poor pass. Zanelli gets it up. And this is the problem, where you've got people like Fair and Marciano coming back in. Great players, not match fit. Carlos back to Bettini. Jeez. Nearly across his own goal line. Carlos now brings it out. Why on earth did we see that? Was it just to watch Bettini control it on the line? Because we went nowhere near the goal. We have had a shot on target now, apparently. But 4 minutes added on. It's going to be 0-0. And that is a worrying sign. It's almost like we've got a lot of attacking players injured and suspended, isn't it? Or not match fit. Pretty decent performance. No sign of scoring a goal. And it means 2 points off 3 games in a Champions League so far. Yes, we've got 2 very winnable home games coming up next. But what happens after that? Because then we've got a couple of trickier away games and a couple of the big boys. I'm a bit concerned about this. We're in 28th place after those matches against Newcastle at home. Again, we've shared the results. A win, a draw and a defeat this season. Not looking good so far. 800 grand in the bank. Memic should be okay for the weekend. Elmi and Jimenez look like they'll be missing though. But if you face City in 4 days' time, there'll be a few changes yet again. Well, it's fitness test time as we finish another grueling week here at Southend United. And after frustration in midweek, it's going to be whether we can keep pace in the Premier League. Liverpool are playing at pretty much the same time. Now they have kicked off slightly earlier. Nana Fair, not quite fit to start. Joaquin Jimenez says 60 minutes, but not in full condition. Bernberg now the worst trainer at the club. And Liverpool 0-0 as it stands. Let's just hope it finishes that way. That's the sort of bonus we could do with here. That means nothing if we lose as well. Matt Cox has moved on to Manchester City. He's been at Arsenal and Liverpool in this save. And I think now all of the originals are gone, with the exception of Rico Lewis, the only remaining City player. They have also got Hato at the back, who is an original player from the game, just not from Manchester City. So let's go and get through the opposition instructions, see what team we can put out. Memic had a knock in midweek, so we're going to give Aguiman the start just to make sure he recovers. Adamson will come back on the left for Vasquez, who was of course suspended in the week, was Adamson. Vasquez will replace Curley on the bench. Vite will be replaced by Nana Fair. And then I think I'm going to bring Bernberg in for Kivrakidis, and he'll find his way onto the bench somewhere as well. Possibly in place of Andre, as much as I don't like that. Or do I do Memic? Because he was struggling physically. So let's put Kivrakidis there. That means that our 11 is slightly changed, but we're not going absolutely crazy. And I'm not going to change the front two, despite my disappointment with both in midweek. That means our 11 today sees how many changes in total? 3? I think it's just 3. Aguiman at right back, Adamson left wing, and Bernberg in central midfield. In we go to a big game at the Etihad. Where are they? They are level on points with us. So if we lose this one, we'll be out the top 4 after quarter of the season, which would not be ideal. Let's put it that way. Well, here we are. It is 4 changes for our host today. Sandy Arthur on the bench, as is Joffrey Gibbert, who's brilliant. Irvin Hernandez, who we looked at last year. He went there from Atletico Madrid. There are a lot of good players in this squad. Will Zidane finally get it working? Let's tell the lads to keep it going. Get them inspired. Bernberg again, just sort of creeping into his shell as a big game comes along. But we could really do with a performance here. I'm not sure I'm confident we get it. I feel like this is the year it's just going to start to decline. And I might have to make some big decisions for that final push. But the one thing I do want out of it at least is to win a Carabao Cup or something. One of the ones we haven't won before. As Hato goes down the left to Cox. Good interception from Torres. Then he gives it away. Trying to be a bit too clever with his footwork. Veloso into Castillero. And it's cost us again. Just like the Newcastle game, it is individual mistakes. And it is those little moments where it's just going against us. Our job at the minute is to keep within touching distance, is to keep our ground, because we're sneaking away from the top of the table here. Though Carr goes into Bernberg, and there's an inspired team selection. Ashley Carr stays in, turns provider from a quick free kick, and Bernberg in the middle. A rare goal for him, and straight back on terms. A huge moment that, because that could have got the fans turning if we didn't react quickly. Liverpool still 0-0 with Sheffield United. I'm keeping an eye on that. Because at the very worst, I don't want to lose any ground today. When on paper, we've got the tougher of the 2 games. So we are straight back up the other end as Rico Lewis plays a 1-2 from the kickoff. From the throw-in, sorry. Kickoff? What am I on about? Fresneda on the right-hand side. Cross from the byline. Gramoso in. Poor defending. Carlos defensively, not great. Bettini beating it his near post. Herbert's marking wasn't anything special. All round, that was pretty woeful defensively. It's not good, is it? And with Liverpool looking so good, bit of a concern for us. Adamson's got a yellow. He's been poor again. Just got too many players out of form, not consistently fit and playing. And at half time, we're deservedly going to be behind. Yes, we've come back into the game a little in terms of the stats, but we've not seen much evidence that it's going to be great for us. Going to say I'm disappointed again. It feels like I'm doing that most weeks. And let's see if we get a reaction here, because a third away defeat of the season already could be pretty damaging at this point. We're pretty much an hour on the clock here, and I don't think we can wait anymore. We've got real poor performers, so Andre's going to come on at left back. We're going to take Adamson off for Vasquez. Wills is going to come off for Teddy Ivanov. And I'm going to take off Jorg Robertson for Ukulano. 4 changes. I think at left back with Andre, do we go for something aggressive? Inverted wing back on attack, it worked last time, didn't it? And then a full back on defend maybe for Aguiman. I think that could be ideal. We might leave him on support. I mean, we've got to chase the game, haven't we? We've got one more change if we want to chuck on Nana Fair, if we want to chuck on Marciano. Want to chuck on the sub-keeper, the way Bettini's playing, but with 20 to go, I don't see where the change comes. So Torres will be replaced by Luis Marciano. And we just have to hope for a reaction at 10 minutes. And in this whole episode, we've not managed too many shots on target. And the goals have started going in against us now. João Veloso is on corner kick duty. In swinger, Zidane's certainly getting City playing now. Even if we head it away, which we're fortunate to get it off the line with Marciano. They were unmarked at the edge of the box. Not a good day at the office, this. Very disappointing. City probably could have had more. We've gone attacking late on. We've had no reaction whatsoever. And it is another tricky spell. The Champions League and Premier League are both looking pretty poor this season. That is 3 away defeats in the league. We've dropped points in every European match. And we are now 7 points off the top because Sheffield United do get a point. But we're not anywhere near the side we've looked in recent years. Yes, there have been injuries and fitness issues contributing. This is not a start I was hoping for. Let's go and have a look at when we're next going to be back, because the task this season seems to be a little bit tougher. Well, if we put this into a bit of perspective now, we've actually won 2 of our last 7 games. And we mentioned that we had that friendlier run at the start of the season. We didn't take advantage away at Everton. But the only teams we've beaten in the last month and a half are Hull at home and then a pretty decent win at Sheffield United. But that relied on an own goal and a set piece. So it's not free-flowing. You can tell the attacking players are missing. And we're going to come back, I think, next time for a real test in a triple header. Let's just throw ourselves in the big games. There's a lot of tough ones coming up. Chelsea away on paper looks tough, but they had a poor year last year. They've recovered pretty well at the start of this one, though. Spurs at home are going to be a threat. We've got 2 now must-win Champions League games. And then at the end of the month, we start with a run of, again, 3 games in a week. And I think that's becoming the issue this season. Having those tougher Premier League games after the European midweeks. That's something where we've just had luck at a draw in a couple of recent seasons. So we will be back for the following 3. Arsenal at home, United away, Bayern Munich at home. Those 3 games are going to be hugely decisive based on our start, because they're the games now where we can't afford to slip up and we've got to start making the ground back. So if you're looking forward to seeing if we do, and you did enjoy seeing a little bit of difficulty creeping into season 16 at Southend United, and please do put a thumbs up on the video. If you're enjoying the pain, let me know down in the comments. Do you think we can win anything this year? Do I have to go for the Carabao Cup, try and get a new trophy on the board, and take a positive out of what looks like being a pretty tricky season? If you want to stay up to date and find out if it is, subscribe and turn that notification bell on. We'll be back here in a couple of days' time for the huge triple header against 3 big teams. There's also links in the eye above to all the other playlists, the Twitch channel, and the football podcast for regular content too. But thank you very much for watching it all, for being here and supporting as always. The next episode is going to be pretty decisive in our season. So let's hope those 3 games go a little better than these 2 did. I'll see you there to find out if they do.